While taking care of his bees, Teddy tells his autistic cousin Don about the government manipulating food supplies. He's worried about what the system has been doing to society, but he also thinks there's a larger organizing principle at work, so he did lots of research until he found the answer. Teddy says that it's up to him and Don to make things right, thus they start exercising for a big mission. Later they go to the hardware store to get some tools and to a thrift store to get some costumes. During lunch, Don admits he's afraid they'll get caught and he's unsure if he can do this. Teddy hugs him and showers him with compliments to convince him to help. In the evening, Teddy tells Don that they must have no distractions. This means no more gaming, no smoking, and no screens unless it's for research. He also thinks they should get a special chemical injection that will castrate them so they won't think about getting naughty. Don doesn't like the idea, but Teddy changes his mind with a rant about being free from biological imperatives and the myths of monogamy. Then they give each other the shot. Meanwhile, Michelle, CEO of the pharmaceutical megacorporation Oxalith, goes through her daily routine in her fancy house. She also exercises, but she has advanced machines, a sparring partner, and plenty of supplements to take with her breakfast. Afterward she goes to the office and records a video to promote her company. Her team has written a script that makes her sound like a kind person who cares about hiring minorities, when actually she's only nice on camera. The rest of the time she's very nasty to her employees. In the afternoon Michelle drives home and doesn't see Don and Teddy hiding nearby. They wait until she parks to jump on her, but Michelle uses her training to defend herself. She brings them both down and runs to her door, but Teddy recovers quickly and tries again. Michelle brings him down once more and runs to her backyard, where Teddy tackles her into the bushes. This time when Michelle frees herself and runs, she quickly collapses because Teddy has managed to inject her with a sedative. The cousins put Michelle in her own car and drive away. Don starts shaving Michelle's hair because Teddy thinks they can use it to track her just like GPS. When they get home, they burn their costumes and drop Michelle in the basement. It's then revealed that Teddy thinks aliens are behind all conspiracies and that Michelle is one of them. He points out what he considers proof of an alien in a human body, such as narrow feet, thin cuticles, a slight overbite, semi-obtruding earlobes, and high hair density. Then they cover her body with a cream that supposedly blocks her nervous system and tie her up to a mattress. In the evening, the boys put on suits before going back to the basement. When Michelle finally wakes up, Teddy welcomes her to the headquarters of the human resistance and explains that she must respect the human rights listed in the Geneva Conventions in spite of her being an Andromedan alien. A very confused Michelle asks what happened to her hair and Teddy says they shaved it to stop her from contacting her mothership. Without showing any fear, Michelle points out that she's an extremely important person, so the FBI will be searching for her soon. However, Teddy just laughs and says she's good at pretending to be human. He calls her a high-ranking official from the Royal Andromedan Court who helps her species techno-slave and agro-disintegrate Earth. Teddy wants her to take him and Don to her mothership on the night of the lunar eclipse because he wants to confront her superiors. When Michelle denies being an alien, Teddy says he's done thermal imaging on her face and found Andromedan code on her Instagram. He then drops a recorder and announces that they'll give her the night to prepare a message for her emperor so they can board the ship and ask the aliens to leave Earth. Teddy thinks Michelle should be grateful he's being nice because the aliens killed his family, his community, and his bees. The boys turn off the lights and leave while ignoring Michelle's pleas. Upstairs, the boys celebrate their successful capture. However, during dinner, Don feels bad because he sees Michelle crying on the security camera. Teddy reminds him that he mustn't see Michelle as human and that she's just doing this to manipulate him. After Don goes to bed, Teddy keeps watching the camera and remembers what happened to his mother. Sandy participated in a clinical trial for Oxalith even though she didn't believe in traditional medicine. She taught Teddy that companies made the diseases to then sell the cure, and she was only participating in the trials to get money to feed him. Unfortunately, this has left her in a coma. The next morning, the cousins make Michelle reapply the cream all over her body. With only 3 days left before the eclipse, Teddy goes to work on his bicycle while listening to alien conspiracy podcasts. He's pulled over by Officer Casey, who used to babysit Teddy back in the day. Casey just wants to check on him and make sure Don is doing well, but Teddy ends the conversation quickly to avoid suspicion. It's then revealed that Teddy works in an Oxalith warehouse. When a coworker complains about a cut she got while working, Teddy reminds her to file a report to fight the horrible system. During his lunch break, he watches the news and learns that Michelle has been reported missing but there are no leads. Later at home, Teddy takes care of his bees before asking Don about Michelle. So far she hasn't eaten or relieved herself, so Teddy thinks she's trying to earn pity. The cousins put their suits on again and go to the basement to listen to the message Michelle recorded. She said she's an alien and that her mothership will come for them, but Teddy thinks it's too basic and scolds her for not using the alien language. Michelle reminds him that she can't do that because she's not an actual alien, so Teddy furiously throws the recorder on the floor. Then Michelle explains she's a chemist but she also has a psych degree, so she can tell what's happening. She theorizes that Teddy only consumes internet content that validates his beliefs and it's warped his sense of reality. This makes him go on a rant about corporate speech, and when Michelle replies with sarcasm, he gets so angry that he starts bashing a chair on the floor and throws it over Michelle's head. She apologizes and asks him to have a real conversation with her, wondering if he wants money or power, but Teddy continues to rant. When Michelle calls him mentally ill, Teddy slaps her. Afterward, Teddy hides in his car to throw a tantrum. He tells Don about the YouTubers he followed to learn about the existence of aliens, but also clarifies that he was the one who came up with the method to identify them. He hopes that when the aliens read his thoughts during the negotiations, they'll see that humans have honor and dignity, so they deserve a chance. Don asks what life will be like in space, but Teddy explains they'll be out there only for a few hours for the negotiations. Then they must come back to build an improved society. When Don admits he's been feeling strange since they got the castration shots, Teddy assures him that it's normal and everything will be fine. The next morning, Michelle keeps trying to break her restraints to no avail. The cousins come back and Don has a gun, so Michelle tells them that she wants to start over and admits she's an alien. This isn't enough for Teddy, who decides to strap her to a chair to put her under electroshock torture. To cover her screaming, he plays music at full volume. Don is very uncomfortable with all this, yet Teddy tells him they must do what is necessary. Michelle is in extreme pain, and it only gets worse because Teddy keeps increasing the power to the point that the lights flicker. When Don tries to stop him, Teddy slaps his hand away. Eventually, the power in the whole house starts failing and electric connections are dangerously sparking. Teddy is in shock, so Don finally gets to cut in and turn the machine off. He calls Teddy out for almost killing Michelle, however Teddy insists he's wrong. He cleans the blood from Michelle's mouth and apologizes while calling her Your Majesty. He believes that her high pain tolerance means she's alien royalty and not just a general like he first thought. Another flashback shows that Michelle covered up the incident that severely hurt most of the trial patients. To keep everyone silent, she agreed to pay for the victims' medical expenses until they improve. On the day before the eclipse, Teddy goes shopping. Later at home, he covers all the doors and windows before letting Michelle out of the basement. He wants to treat her like the royalty she is, so he lets her have a shower and even brings her clothes and a wig. Michelle is disgusted by the clothes because they're from the thrift store and turns down the wig. They strap her legs to a chair for dinner and she starts some friendly chatter with them, praising their nice home and their activism. She shows respect for bees as an organized society, but Teddy thinks she only finds them easy to exploit. The mood gets tense when Teddy points out that climate change is killing the bees and Michelle's company is one of the main offenders because of their pesticides. An argument ensues and Michelle decides to bring up Sandy, insisting the trials had been necessary to cure people and that her company has been nothing but helpful with the victims. Teddy grows angrier with each word and finally snaps, jumping across the table to tackle her. He starts choking Michelle and Don doesn't know what to do besides begging him to stop. In the struggle, Michelle's restraints break from the chair, so she uses the chance to stab Teddy's arm with a fork and tries to run away. Teddy immediately chases her around the room and they end up fighting on the floor again, so Don finally intervenes by knocking Michelle out with his gun. At that moment, Casey rings the bell but nobody answers. Worried, he walks around the house noticing all the covered windows until Teddy finally opens the back door. Casey invites himself in, so Teddy rushes to turn off the security camera. When Casey notices the strap on the chair, Teddy claims that it used to be for his mother because she had fits while sick. Then Casey explains he's patrolling the neighborhood because Michelle's phone pinged a cell tower in this area and her car was seen down the road. He's been asking the locals if they've seen anything and Teddy of course says he hasn't. Getting nervous and awkward, Casey admits that he came to check on Teddy because he feels guilty. It turns out that he took advantage of the boy when he babysat him and he's been trying to make up for it since then. He apologizes for everything and swears he didn't do it to any other kid. Teddy is worried about Casey getting suspicious, so he claims to forgive him and takes him outside to show him the bees. In the basement, Michelle wakes up and sees Don with his gun pointed at her. She starts talking gently to him, calling him brave and thanking him for treating her nicely. Michelle promises that she won't press charges against Don if he helps her get Teddy, saying that she can tell Don's just been manipulated by his cousin. At first Don doesn't want to hear her out, but she keeps making great promises, so he wonders if he could leave Earth to live with the aliens. Michelle agrees to take him to space with him and Don thanks her before using his gun to self-delete, covering Michelle in blood. Outside, Casey hears the gunshot. Teddy immediately throws the bees at him to bring him down and repeatedly hits his head with a shovel until Casey is dead. Then Teddy rushes to the basement and is devastated to find Don's body. He grabs the gun and blames Michelle, who tries to explain what happened to no avail. When Teddy is about to shoot her, Michelle claims she has a cure for Sandy. There's a bottle in her car with a medicine her company has been developing in secret. The label only says antifreeze to keep it safe from robbers. A desperate Teddy hits Michelle's leg with the gun for what she did to Don, then he runs to find the car in the hiding spot in the woods. He grabs the bottle and rushes to the hospital, where he injects the liquid into Sandy's IV. Unfortunately, the bottle is normal antifreeze and Sandy's body shakes for a few seconds before she dies. Teddy freaks out and escapes through the window. Back in the basement, Michelle checks Don's body with her foot and finds the handcuff keys. She frees herself and starts looking for an exit. There's a hidden door behind a mattress and when Michelle peeks inside, she's horrified to find several human parts in jars. There are also binders with photographs of bodies and plenty of notes. It turns out Teddy captured many people believing they were aliens and chopped them to study them. At that moment Teddy comes back with the gun and Michelle asks how many of his victims were aliens, so he answers 2. He tries to yell at her for Sandy's death, but Michelle yells back to make him shut up. She says that the Andromedan Emperor found Earth when it was just dinosaurs and her people accidentally spread a virus that caused their extinction. The Emperor felt so guilty that he created a life very similar to Andromedans, which happened to be humans. The first society was Atlantis, and they worshipped the aliens like gods. However, humans grew greedy and violent, which resulted in a nuclear war. Only a few humans survived thanks to an ark and they rebuilt, but society never got better. They continued to destroy the planet with wars and pollution. Most of the Andromedans want to eliminate the human race for their behavior, but the Emperor thought there was hope and told his people to do some experiments to find a cure for the violence gene. That experiment had been the trial Sandy joined. Michelle is supposed to report to her leader during the eclipse and agrees to bring Teddy along. She puts on a wig and her original clothes, then she takes Teddy to the company building in her car. All guards and employees are shocked to see her, but Michelle assures them that everything's fine and even tells them to go home early. In the office, Michelle closes the curtains for privacy and says that her calculator is an alien device in disguise before she starts typing the code to contact the mothership. Teddy then announces he's ready for any possible issues and reveals he has a bomb under his jacket. Michelle makes him get into her closet, claiming it's the teleporter that will take him to the ship. Teddy follows her instructions and closes the door, so Michelle presses a button on the calculator. The bomb explodes and Teddy's head flies out, knocking Michelle out. An ambulance soon arrives to take Michelle away and all the employees clap for her bravery. When Michelle wakes up, she ignores the doctors and jumps out of the ambulance in the middle of the street. She returns to her office and enters the closet, which she activates with the calculator. Suddenly she appears in the mothership, confirming that her story is true. It turns out she is the Andromedan Empress, and she couldn't contact her people because she lost her hair. The council informs her that all the experiments failed, so Michelle decides it's time for humans to disappear. She bursts the bubble covering a flat model of Earth, and this causes every single person on the planet to drop dead at the same time. In Teddy's garden, the bees fly away to their freedom. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.